Hello thrillers, welcome back to today's tutorial on a wide leg trouser with an elastic waist. And I have here about 3 yards of a fabric, and we're going to proceed to cut this. So I have this folded already, it's on fold for the front, and to determine how wide it would be, it is your hip circumference divided by 4, then you add 1 inch for ease, plus extra 4 to 5 inches. So that's the amount you're going to fold. This is for the front. I went ahead to mark half an inch on the side. That would be my side allowance. Forget about that extra there. Half an inch starting point line on the waistline also. So from that half an inch on the side, you start your measurement, your hip circumference divided by 4. You mark it there. Then 1 inch is allowance. Then from the top side, I'm making use of a waistband. So I want my waistband to be 2 inches. So you place your measurement on that starting point line, 2 inches. You mark your waist to your hip, then your waist to your crotch, plus 1.5 inches. Because this is a high waist. You're marking it there. Then you rule a line across. Just, you sway it out to your waist. That will be my hip, my crotch, my waist. And your thigh is 1.5 to 2 inches below your crotch. That is what I just marked. So on the crotch line, you mark your crotch extension. That is your hip, your actual hip circumference that you mark there. Your hip circumference divided by 4. Whatever you have, you also divide it by 4 again. That will be your crotch. So mine is 3 inches, and that is what I just marked there. So we are going to create a curve, but from the hip, I'm just coming out by, half an inch there. We don't want something sharp. So you connect the 3 inches point to your hip. You curve it out perfectly. So I just extended the crotch line. So before we mark our thigh circumference, we'll have to, measure that crotch, the width of that crotch. Find the midpoint, just as I'm doing. Find the midpoint and mark it. You're going to mark that midpoint on your thigh too. After marking it, then you find your thigh circumference, divide it by 2, one for your back, one for your front. After dividing it by 2, you are also going to divide it by 2 again and share it equal size, starting from that midpoint. So just as you see me do, I'm marking one on this side, I marked the other one on the other side. So that is my thigh circumference. But we need ease allowance, so I'm just marking out 0.5 on both sides. 0.5 is allowance, as you can see. So it's very simple. Then we are going to connect it to the crotch, connect the other side, and mark it straight down. That is all you have to do here. Mark it straight down as you see me do. Okay, you also mark your length. I'm working with a length of 44 inches, then plus 2 inches hemming allowance. Then I'll go off camera and add 0.5 allowance on all sides. So this is it, and we go over to the back. So cutting the back here, I have another fabric folded also, and I attached an extra 3 inches, about 3 inches. I sewed extra 3 inches all around. And I've placed my front side. Now to mark the crotch for the back, you just add extra 2 inches there. Please forget about the 0.5 side allowances. Mark it from the true exact point. Add extra 2 inches. Then I'm coming down by 0.5 inch there, just to allow it to sit well. Then from this top side, to avoid this gaping on your trouser back, whatever you have as your crotch extension for your front, you are going to extend it there. In this case, I had 3 inches. You're going to mark up 3 inches, but actually on this trouser, I used 2.5 inches. I used 2.5 inches. So I'm just starting from that starting point line. Forget about the 0.5 waist allowance. So I just marked 2.5 there. Then from this place, I'm just marking up 1 inch. There's no regular something, but you don't have to make this point to be, kind of too curvy. So I just went up by 1 inch, and I'm connecting the whole thing. So normally our back side the measurement is usually higher than the front by 0.5 on the inseam, 0.5 for the outseam, just to allow the back sit properly. So that means that the actual part for the back, the actual measurement for the back is on this front allowance. That is this point. That is the actual measurement for the back. Then when we now add extra half an inch sewing allowance, it will now be on this point that you see me marking. So please understand that. Then on the waistline, you connect it back to your side, and then you take your measurement of the front waist whatever you have there, make sure you also have it on the back waistline. So that is just what I'm doing. After that, I'll connect the actual crotch of the back to the side and the inseam. The actual one I told us the back is more on both sides by 0.5. So I'm connecting the actuals now, joining the points as you see me do. Please, I hope you understand that. So the reason for the waistband being the same thing with the hip is because we are going to attach elastic. So I hope you understand the hip line is the same with the waist because of the elastic. So now we are going to add our sewing allowance, which is half an inch on the inseam, add your half an inch on the crotch, half an inch all the way. I'm just trying to explain better. On the waistline, half an inch. On the side also, you are going to add your half an inch extra. That will be your sewing allowance. Just add it downward. Please, I hope I'm making sense. You can go back to what? Yeah, so you now take out the front and then you cut the back. For our center front, we usually come down by half an inch, then we connect it back to your side. So that is what I'm just trimming out. Just half an inch, you connect it and trim out. For the pocket, you get an extra piece and a long piece. You just fold it this way and put it underneath your front side and trim out the shape. The top side, the waist side and the side. Trim out the shape, bring it out. It will be this way. So you unfold one side and you place back your side front. Then I'm marking down how deep I want the pocket to be. I'm marking 6 inches. And then how wide I want it to be. I want it to be 4 inches. You mark it out. Then you're going to connect it with your curve this way. I'm adding extra half an inch sewing allowance and I'm trimming it out. So you see it is just on one side of the pocket. So right side facing right side, you place them together and join it by half an inch. Do the same thing for the other side too. Join it by half an inch and then I'm notching it. So when you bring it out, it will be this shape. So just follow what I'm doing. To create the pocket bag, we are going to sew in that part and you also tack in that side, tack in the waist side too. Now this is your pocket, very simple. After that, you still bring the two front sides together, right side facing right side. You join it at the crotch side. Do the same thing for the back, and this is it, joined on the crotch. So now you place your back on your front, right side to right side. You pin down the crotch areas down as you see me do. Then you're going to sew it by half an inch. After that, you also join the sides, just as you see me do. Join the side by the half an inch, sewing allowance, side allowance. Then once we are done with that, the next thing is for our waist. So from the center back, I'm taking the measurement of the waist I have there all around. So go ahead and do yours, take your measurement. And whatever you have, you're going to cut a band of measuring the same thing plus 1 inch for joining allowance. So I've gone ahead to join it as you can see on one side. And this thing is measuring 5 inches. Unfold it to be 2.5 and half an inch is for the joining allowance. Just as you see, I have half an inch to join into the trouser itself. And you can also see I ironed hairstay on one side and I just notched the center. So taking the back side, right side to that joint part, right side to right side, you pin it down and that is how you're going to match it and pin it all around. So you take it to your sewing machine and you sew it on one side first. When you are done with that, we are going to also do what we call stitch in the ditch. How? You're going to unfold it this way, folding the remaining half an inch and make sure it is covering your previous seam. Make sure it is covering it. Place it there and pin it. Do it all around. Then once you are done, from the front side, we are going to take it to our sewing machine. As you can see, I've pinned everything. So you're going to take it to your sewing machine on the front side and try to stitch in the ditch, in the previous stitch that you've made inside there. This will give you a very neat finishing. In fact, your seam will not be seen. So this is just what I'm showing here, stitch in the ditch. And when you are done with this, you are going to leave a space of 2 inches or 3 inches where we're going to attach our elastic. So this is a 1-inch elastic, and to determine the amount you're going to use, the normal waist circumference of your client minus 5 to 7 inches. In my case, I used 7 inches. So you cut it and then you pass it through that opening. When you bring it out on both sides, you're going to hold it down together and you also sew it there several times, or you can just overlap and sew. In my case, I overlapped. Please, you're using the exact waist circumference of your client, not the band circumference. When you're done that opening, you're going to sew it down also. And I'm just dividing this band into 2 because we are going to sew on it round. You take it to your sewing machine and you're dragging and you are sewing it round. When you're done with one, you also sew the other side. After that, we are going to hem this trouser. You fold it this way, you fold it again, and you stitch it down. Or you use a hemming gum to do this. Then this is the result of the stitching. This is the back side. You can see the seam. But on the front side, you are not seeing anything. No seam. Very neat. So this is how you're going to sew the band with the elastic. You're dragging, you're sewing. When you sew this side, one, you're going to sew the other line too. So this is it. Very neat. And with this, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Please like, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.